Greetings and salutations, friends. Welcome. Character NPC here, your host for the channel, your DM, your players, your non-player characters. Today, I am planning on generating some characters. Hopefully, I'll get through quite a bit of it, though I expect, well, I shouldn't say I expect, I anticipate that this will be a few episodes because generating characters can take some time. Especially the way I like to do it. I'm kind of detail oriented, so I enjoy this. And so now, friends, let's talk about generating characters. First off, we'll be using, or I'll be using, these first edition character sheets that they originally were orange, so you couldn't copy them. Back in those days, the copiers, printers were dot matrix. They went bzz, 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 they made the lines that you printed. Anyway, I digress. But I was able to find these out on the interweb, and they're wonderful. This should have a lower line here that is the will for the character. It says who they're leaving their possessions to, but hey, it's a solo game, and nobody really dealt with that anyway, right? Like, people would just scavenge your stuff if you died. So it was kind of a moot point for this campaign anyway. And to begin, it's important to understand that in first edition Dungeons & Dragons, there is a set of methods for rolling up characters, while original Dungeons & Dragons just used 3 six-sided dice to roll up the stats. In this case, you're given some choices to use, and either the DM picks that or the players can decide. In this case, though, I've always used method 1. I don't think I've ever used any other method. Method 1 is rolling 4 six-sided dice and then discarding the lowest score, and then the player can decide on how they want to arrange the ability scores as they see fit. I'm not going to read over these others. You can see them on the screen. You could pause the stream at this point or in the future and take a look at each one. So I'm just going to end it there. But there's lots to look at in the Dungeon Master's Guide regarding generating characters, and quite a bit of information here, so it's important. The other important book is the Player's Handbook, of course. And this has the majority of stuff that we're going to use. All the racial attributes, elves and dwarves and humans and gnomes and all that have different racial benefits for their abilities, and class. There are class restrictions, and lots of information to deal with in here. So these are the two books will end up being used tonight, and I also must apologize in advance. It is Independence Day, July 4th, in the United States, and so we do a lot of celebrating with fireworks. I live in a suburb that does not have restrictions like other parts of the state where you can't blow up things depending on how big the explosion is. So I anticipate hearing some minor explosions in the background. If it becomes too noisy, I apologize, but I think we're going to be okay. Okay, so how is this going to work? Essentially, what I'm going to do, I'm bumping things here. What I'm going to do is roll up the ability scores for 6 characters. There's going to be 6 characters in the party. I printed out these sheets anticipating that there will be a couple of fighters, a couple of clerics, a magic user, and a multi-class character, probably or certainly a thief. What that other portion of the multi-class, we'll see, but I've gone ahead and printed out enough of those sheets, even though my printer is running out of ink. These are ready to go, so yay me. And we'll roll the dice, come up with the ability scores, write them down for the 6 characters, and then go through as much as we can of generating the rest of the characters. But again, I started out as a wargamer, and I really enjoy thinking in depth about, what is my strategy? Strategy being the overarching idea and concept to achieving a goal. And I'm also very tactical, which is the minute detail of how to deal with things in the moment or in the battle space or whatever arena that we're talking about. So I can get caught up in the details is what I'm saying. So forgive me if I have to cut this off and we really haven't gotten too far. I don't really anticipate having like a 4-hour stream or something, I'd like to keep this down to an hour or so, maybe an hour and a half max. I think my last video went about an hour and a half, which is longer than I normally anticipate having. But as I said in the very beginning of all of this, in my introduction, that I'm not gonna be too concerned about the whole thing. Okay, so I'm going to get started here. First off, we're throwing out the lowest roll. So I'm going to throw out this 2, got a 13. Terrible. 11. 12. Ooh, well, 15. Not a good one. 9. Well, I shouldn't say not a good one. I mean, 9 to 10, that's pretty average. second character. Ooh, not starting out good. 8. Oh. 13. Oh, I'm writing on my map, dang it. Didn't mean for that to be there. Got an extra dot on the campaign map. 10. 14. 10. 13. 15. Highest so far. 11. Nope. Try that again. 11. Oh, there we go. 16. 14. 14 again. Look at that. That character's definitely above average. 13. 12. 'Good time for a sip of beer between songs here. Oh, no, that's awful. 13. Sometimes my eyes kind of get glazed over here because the color of the dice in the map are kind of the same. 15. 11. Man, where are the 17s and 18s? Come on. Come on, baby. 12. 10. 16. There we go. New high. I guess I had a 16 here before. Still no 17s or 18s though. 14. 12. 16. Last one. Oh, almost 16. Thought that was coming up 6 there for a second. 16. 13. 15. 7. That's awful. and 14. Okay, so let's take a look at this here. What I was hoping for, the kind of vision that I had for the party, was to have characters that were, had multiple abilities and that mesh really well together. Some, like paladins, for example, and rangers that have spells. I'd really like some fighters with spell abilities and thieves with spell abilities. I think the more spells available to the party, even if they're at a higher level, will benefit the party in the long run. And I was, because I'm going to be using the Village of Hamlet module as the starting point. I'm pretty well settled now on Elfwine. I thought it was going to be Tahant, but there's a river and a split road and such or split river and a road, whatever. It just visually looks like it matches Elfwine better than it does Tahant. So, regardless, that has the I think they call it the Church of St. Cuthbert, maybe the temple. Look how old my stuff is after leaving it in the attic and having it, stashed away in various places. The color's not that different between the old yellow. This was actually this tan kind of rough paper from Judge's Guild back in the day. That's the way it was. This is just faded from time and, the things you do in your house and stuff. There we go. Church of St. Cuthbert. So it is a church. Okay. The Church of St. Cuthbert being here, I was kind of thinking 2 fighters, 2 clerics, a magic user, and an illusionist thief, like a gnome illusionist thief. I think that would be awesome because it would give me the benefits of a race that has, I'm talking about the gnome. Everybody else would be human, but a gnome illusionist thief, while not all that common, depending on who you were playing with. Some people just don't like gnomes at all as a race. In first edition Dungeons and Dragons, that would give some benefits to being in the dungeon and understanding, like dwarves. We're on a decline here. We're on an incline. Crumbling walls and ceilings that are about to collapse, all these kinds of things. Gnomes have those benefits. So that was kind of where my head was. 2 fighters, like a paladin and a ranger, 2 clerics, a magic user, and a gnome illusionist thief. I think that would be great and would be a really well-rounded party. But can I make that work? I don't know. I mean, for one, the the illusionist as a gnome has level limitations if you don't have a high enough intelligence and dexterity. And the paladin also has, I believe, 3 attributes that have to be well above average. So here is a character that might be a potential paladin or illusionist thief, but if I make this the illusionist thief, is this the paladin? And maybe this the ranger, 15 to 16 and 2 14s. That's not bad, but it's going to be very, very limiting. So let's look at what the requirements are for a paladin in the first place and see how that matches up. It's in front of this. Nope. Here we go. Racial stock. Nope. Spells, fighters. Yes. Paladin. Okay. So we can see here that nope, not there. Where is that stat? It may actually be... Well, only humans can be paladins, so that works out fine. It was under paladin, under the classes where the requirements were for minimum and maximum. Could have sworn that was true. Maybe it's here. Yeah, here we go. Just down at the bottom here. Paladin's fighter subclass, but unlike normal fighters, all paladins must begin as lawful good. Yeah. To become a paladin, a character must be human, have a strength of not less than 12. Okay. A minimum intelligence of 9, a wisdom of 13 or more, and a minimum constitution of 9. And not less than a 17 charisma. Well, I don't think I have any 17s. That's sad. Not one 17. So I can't have any paladins. Wow. Out of all of these, not 1, 17, or 18. Okay. So be it. Rules is written. The die have spoken. No paladin. So let's look at ranger. Maybe a fighter and a ranger. Still would like to have a ranger. Ranger must have a strength of not less than 13, intelligence not less than 13, wisdom not less than 14, and a 14 or greater constitution. Gets a 10% bonus if at least... if the ranger has ability scores of greater than 15 in strength, intelligence, and wisdom. Greater than 15. I don't have 3 16s and everything, but I do have what's necessary. Strength not less than 13, intelligence not less than 13, wisdom not less than 14, and 14 or greater in constitution. So number 3 could be 13, 13, 14, 14 or greater. Yeah. Well, actually, I take that back. Oh, strength, intelligence, and wisdom. Strength, intelligence. Greater than 15. Yeah, I don't have 3 16s. I would need 3 16s. So that's not going to work. Yeah. But I could still, I mean, here's 2 16s and a 14 and 12, 2 16s, a 15 and a 14, 16, 15, 14, 14. I mean, these aren't some bad rolls. I'm just not gonna, I'm being too picky here. I'm being greedy, thinking about the 10% experience rewards and such. But like I said, not gonna make it as a paladin. So let's have a ranger, a fighter. Let's look back at the multi-class. Here we go. The only illusionists are human and gnome, and I need a thief. So I could have just a whole human party and forget about the benefits of having one of these other races. Or deal with it, but the gnome illusionists with intelligence or dexterity under 17 would be limited to 5th level. And at 5th level I would get 1 3rd level spell. Those with both intelligence and dexterity of 17 are limited to 6, and I don't have any 17s. So that's not happening. And the would have to have a minimum of 6, 7, 3, 3. Oh yeah, okay. So I could make that work, but he's going to be a gnome illusionist thief is going to be capped on the illusionist side at 6th level. We'll look here at cleric next. Yeah, illusionist of 6th level, 4 first, 3 second, and 1 3rd level spell. Okay, and I primarily just need a thief anyway. Another thing to consider about a multi-class character is that I would be splitting up the experience points between the two classes. And when the gnome reached 6th level illusionist, which is 35,001 experience points upwards to 60,000. So at 60,001, I'm still putting experience points into the illusionist class, but there's no benefit to it. So I'm basically cutting my thief experience in half. But gnomes age much longer than humans, and thieves advance faster than the other classes for the most part. And he can be unlimited in thief. Let's see here. So what did I say? 35,001. 35,001, you know, but up to 60,000. So, I mean, 60,000, you're already halfway through 7th level. So, you know, it's a shorter length of time. I think that's the way to go. So the determination then is which of the outliers, since it's not going to matter, which of the outliers from the ranger and the magic user and clerics should be the gnome multi-class character. Let's look at the cleric. Cleric principle is wisdom. A character must have a minimum wisdom of 9. 13 of a multi-class. No. Yeah, I guess, I mean, I could do that. I could have a multi-class half-elven cleric thief or something, but it doesn't sound nearly as interesting and fun. If ability of greater than 15, if wisdom ability is greater than 15, the character adds 10% experience. And with thief, the 10% bonus is what? Let's see. Down here. Major ability of thief is dexterity, not less than 9. High intelligence is also desirable. Any thief character with a dexterity greater than 15 gains the benefit of being able to add a bonus of 10%. So 15 dex. Dex, 15 wisdom, right? Is that what I said? That's good. Where did I see that? I think it was 15. Yes. Greater than 15. And I said for there's some racial bonuses to gnomes as well, but I forget what they are. Have to look those up and see if there's maybe a way to do that. There's one possibility. If I make the character older, then they'll get some benefits. I think it's Constitution and Intelligence. Maybe it's Strength and Constitution. I'll have to go look at that in a minute. Let me find where was Ranger again. So it's the 17 charisma that's preventing me from having a paladin. Strength 12, Intelligence 9, Wisdom 13, Constitution of 9, Charisma of 17. Yeah, and I can't get a Charisma bonus, so that's not going to happen. Scratch the paladin for sure. The ranger, I don't think I ever really showed that about the paladin. I'm just really terrible with that loop. That particular song is a loop that you can play over and over, and it gets kind of dull if you just sit there and play it over and over and over, but it sure cuts off quick. Yeah, there's the charisma stuff, so that just gives you a look at the paladin requirements. But then I was discussing the ranger, and must have strength no less than 13, intelligence no less than 13, wisdom no less than 14, and a 14 or greater constitution. So two 16s. If the ranger has a strength greater than 15, intelligence and wisdom. 15. So this 6 intelligence and wisdom. This might be a ranger. I think what I'll do is I will mark this potentially as the ranger. And that would be plus 10%. If the ranger has ability scores of greater than 15 in strength, intelligence, and wisdom. Oh, greater than 15. Nope, that's not going to work either. Unless, again, I make this character older. I don't think the age benefits are in here, though. I shouldn't say age benefits, but the yeah, it's not. Here we go. At mature, if he was human, be 21 to 40. Now, you should be rolling and that would be rolling humans. Ranger would be 20 plus 1 die 4. Oh, okay. So here we go. I mean, I think he's going to be mature anyway. Because Rangers are already starting at 20 plus 1 die 4. So you're going to be at least 21. So you're going to be mature. And at mature, you add 1 point of strength and 1 point of wisdom. Okay? 1 point of strength, 1 point of wisdom. And that would make it possible then. Sorry, I bumped that. 1 point of strength and 1 point of wisdom. And I only need if the ranger has ability scores of greater than 15. So I could make this strength. And if I made this strength, well, I could do the same. Nope, greater than 15. Well, I think what I'm going to need to do, I'm going to stick with these. This is what it is. And I'm thinking that at 45 minutes already, I should probably conclude this here. Look over these ability scores. Try to determine which of these classes are going to get other benefits from age, and add the other details up, with the thought that there would be a fighter, a ranger, I think I said 2 clerics because it was only going to be a 15 to get the 10%, so and having 2 clerics then would give me some additional healing, which is going to be very important, especially early on. But clerics can, turn undead and do a whole lot of other things, plus wear armor, stand up in melee, and fight a little bit. Not the greatest fighters, but they can hold their own. And then a magic user. Need a magic user. And finally, the thief of some sort, and I'm thinking a thief, an illusionist, to have the extra benefits. My handwriting is terrible, so you may not be able to read that. And then everybody else would be human. I think that's the way to go. Sure wish I could have a paladin, but it's just not going to happen because I can't get the charisma score up. No 17s. Can't believe I didn't roll at least one 17. 36 die rolls and not one 17 or an 18. But that's how it works. So what would happen then is, this is kind of the most difficult phase of creating or generating first edition D&D characters, is deciding on how the stats are set up for a particular class of character. Trying to I'm a tweaker, these days. I know that's a terrible term. I think that has some kind of drug connotation to it, but what I mean is, I like to tinker with things and try to get the best out of it, and in this case, I think the kids call it a min-maxer. I'm absolutely a min-maxer. I am trying to look at all of the details. I get lost in those details, and if I don't know them well enough, like the backside of my hand, I can get lost in those details trying to come up with what is the best option. So I think that's what I'm going to do. Dwell on this a little bit off stream, and then come back probably tomorrow well, maybe not tomorrow. I'll definitely do some kind of stream tomorrow, but I may only be able to continue on with one character or so while I'm still dwelling on what's best for the rest of the party. So the next steps would be to figure out at least one or two of these characters match the abilities to a class, start filling in the character sheet so that I can get on with the height and weight and buying equipment and any of those other details. So I think that's where I'm going to leave it, friends. Character NPC here, signing off. Maybe not the most exciting episode, but it's really important that this get done and get done right. It's basically the very last of the pre-game work that has to be done. Normally done between the the players and the Dungeon Master. I've had a lot of games where you sit down with the Dungeon Master yourself and roll up characters, and then I've had some where the Dungeon Master just says, I don't care, just come back with a character. Here's my limits, kind of like give you some guardrails, and then you as a player come back with your character. But my groups usually wanted to know, the other players wanted to know, well, what kind of character are you thinking about? Because we were all about making sure that the party was well balanced and could benefit from each other. So if somebody says, well, I'm going to be a magic user, then somebody else would say, okay, well, I'm not. I'm going to be a cleric. We need more fighters, so I'll play a fighter. Something to that effect. All right. If you've made it this far, thank you for tagging along. I want to give another shout out to Wizard Deadloss. He actually subscribed to my channel. I commented on one of his videos and he came back and actually subscribed. So thank you, man. That's really appreciated. I'm not going to be all about the subscriptions and likes and all that, but it's nice to have somebody actually say, hey, yeah, that was pretty cool. Here, I'm subscribing because I like it. So thank you. And happy 4th of July to everybody in the States. I guess I'll see you on another video. Bye-bye.